The stories we tell ourselves shape our reality. And one of the stories that I used to tell myself that really affected me deeply was the story I had with money. And I never realized back then, but the story I had with money, my money story, was the main reason why I was struggling financially to break through to the next level. Because you see, I had this desire to want more money, to make more money, to expand, to grow my business, but I was keep on living the story I just have enough. I was keep on experiencing, scarcity. When things were going well, something would happen and I would just always get back to the same level. And I never realized that the main struggle was that I kept on telling myself consciously and subconsciously the same old story. How does that look like? It's all those thoughts that we have, those labels, those perceptions, the story we tell others, the story that we make up in our imagination, all those things create stories that we have. And we have stories for everything. My money story was that money is hard to make. It's hard to sell my courses. Everything is expensive. I don't have enough money. All of those things, I would go to the supermarket, I would go shopping, I would go on experiences, and every time I would see a price tag or something I wanted, everything was, screened through the story of it's too expensive, I don't have the money, I'll buy it when I have more money, through the, well, if I spend that money, where is the next money gonna come from? What if I spend that money, and I run out of money kind of thing? So everything was being polluted because the same story was going on. I remember that in my mind, I used to go and plan and visualize. Ironically, I would visualize and imagine in my mind just having enough at the end of the month. So I would calculate all the money and where it could come from and just making sure that I allocate money everywhere so that I have enough for all the main things and so on. And then I struggled because it's exactly what would happen. But you see, until I had that click, that moment of awareness of shit, what have I been doing all this time, right? Keep on telling me the same stuff, expecting something to change, but I've been placing those labels and limitations on myself because perception equals creation and we live what we believe. Because the moment you start to identify with your story, meaning you start to believe it, it becomes part of who you are. It becomes part of your identity. So the moment I started to consciously take the reign of my money story, I started seeing shifts. So how did it happen? What did it happen? It was first starting to become aware of the mental activity I was having, of the projection I was having on money and the things that are expensive and the stories I was telling about how hard it is to make money and people don't have the money to buy my program. So all these type of things, to interrupt them and start to replace them. And I can tell you what happened after that is that the moment I started changing my story, things started happening in my financial reality, in my business, and everything that was related. And that's when I broke through that story and that cap and went into the next level. So I want you to understand that we have stories about everything, not just money. Money is a big part of it, but we have a relationship about ourselves, about our body, about what we cannot do, who we are not, all those labels that we live by. We have stories about people that are close to us, our family, our environment, the world, the religion, the people. We have stories about relationship, we have stories about love, we have stories about everything. Now, you probably have a lot of those stories, belief, concepts that are good for you, that are working for you. And you probably have stories that are holding you back in other areas of your life. And so really the only way to judge the quality of your stories or the quality of your life is to know, am I getting the result that I want in different areas of my life? If I've been chasing certain goals, if I've been trying to change certain ways and it's not happening and it's not happening and I'm stagnating, then what is it that I'm doing? What is the story that I've been keep telling myself? What are the beliefs, the identity, all those things that are keeping me stagnating? Example, maybe you want to lose weight, be slim and so on, but you have this story, I've tried, it's so hard, and I have a slow or fast metabolism and people in my family just don't lose weight, and you have a story about all the reason why it's impossible or very hard for you. You have to notice that story it's keeping you from even trying, it's keeping you from believing, it's keeping you from doing shit about it. There's a story that I read recently that really blew my mind, and it's the story of that guy who's quite famous now. He's actually a trail runner, champion, sponsored by one of those big brands. But his story is so impressive because he started by being completely overweight, by actually his doctor telling him that you gotta wake up because where you're heading right now is dangerous. And that wake-up call started to break some of that story. And he started breaking through some of the stories that telling him, oh, I cannot work out, I'm lazy, I'm tired, I don't have the time. All those stories that were keeping him, in that lifestyle. And he started walking, and he started running, and he started doing another thing, and he started believing more, and started changing his personality and his identity. And over time, he completely changed his life, and he became a trail runner champion from somebody who was never working out for years or decades. And that's the power of changing your story. But if you keep identifying yourself with the same story, with the same label, with the same imaginal act, and if you keep seeing yourself the same way, you will end up living a predictable life. So how do you break free from that pattern? You start breaking free by observing yourself. How am I talking to myself? What am I imagining, visualizing in my mind on autopilot? What is it? How do I speak about myself toward other people? How do I describe myself toward other people? What are the excuses, the rationale that I use to justify my current situation, or why I'm not getting what I want, or why am I not moving forward? Those stories, those excuses have to go. And this is taking responsibility, because when you take responsibility, you become responsible to do something about it. And then the question is, what is a better story? What is a better thought about myself? If we go back to the losing weight, if we go back to starting your own YouTube channel, if we go back to whatever it is that you want to do, even changing your relationship with money, can you go from money is hard to make, everything's so expensive, there's no money out there, to, you know what? I can change my relationship with money. You know what? I choose to believe that I can make money. You know what? I choose to believe I can afford it, I can generate more money, I can find ways to create opportunities for myself. If you can start speaking to yourself like this constantly, if you start requalifying those old thoughts, if you stop visualizing yourself being overweight, being left behind, being rejected, being, just that worst case scenario, those old negative images, those negative stories, or using old memories of things that happened, or what people did to you, and how it was back then, and why it led you where you are. If you stop using those old things to justify where you are, and you start visualizing yourself in a different way, you can start seeing yourself, you start speaking to yourself in a different way, and you do that consistently, you'll be amazed by how much empowering you feel to do certain things, to make different decisions, to show up in different way, and how opportunity will start to show in your life. It's like, let's say you want to pick up a new language and you have the attitude, oh, I'm just not good with languages, right? If you start with that attitude, you're gonna have a hard time. But if you go with the attitude, you know what? I can learn anything. If I work at it, if I take the time, if I just commit, there's no reason why my brain cannot learn this new language. It sounds silly, but that simple shift of story can keep you procrastinating, giving up before you even start, or it can lead you down a path that has many bridges of opportunity that leads you to a completely different life. And it all starts by changing the story you tell yourself, about what you can do, about who you are, and how you live your life. Let me know what you think down in the comment. As always, if you like this type of video, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'll see you next time. Be well.